Hey everybody, welcome to Always Bored Never Boring. Today we're going to be looking at issue 49 of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest magazine, the Partworks publication from Hachette Publishing in association with Games Workshop. It comes out every week, priced at $7.99, and you usually get miniatures on the cover or some hobby supplies such as brushes and paints. In this particular issue, we get some new paints. We actually get these paints. We get a pot of Dawnstone layer paint, a pot of Calgar Blue layer paint, and a pot of Ogrin Camo layer paint. So that's grey, blue, and green. So, what are we looking at in terms of value there? Well, each of these pots at full retail price from a Warhammer store or from Games Workshop online is £2.75. So the three of them together, we are looking at £8.25. The magazine costs $7.99, so we are getting a whopping discount of 26 new English pennies. Not the best saving in the world. It's not as bad as it has been, and in fact, the last time we got paints, we actually ended up it cost more than if we'd bought the paints in a store. But obviously 26p, you can probably make use of an online discount or something, and if you get free shipping, you're going to be able to get the paints slightly cheaper than getting them from Conquest. But of course, Conquest has the advantage of coming with a magazine which has useful information in it, and if you're a subscriber, taking the individual value of an issue out of context isn't always the best way to look at the value of the subscription itself, which is why at the end of this video I will be doing a running total, like I always do in these videos, which is a comparison of the cost of subscribing to the magazine up to this point, up to issue 49, versus the cost of purchasing all of the cover products at full retail price. And because in some issues the value is massive, you'll see that it's actually quite a big saving overall up to this point. So, not the best saving in the world, but it's always good to get new paints. New layer paints are useful, and yeah, it's a good mix of colours. They're all ones that haven't been in previous issues, so I don't have to complain about getting what they call restocks. Yeah, it's all good new stuff, and obviously this magazine, because we didn't get any miniatures, there's not going to be any build instructions in this magazine, so there should be quite a hefty painting section to cover what we're going to be doing with those three new paints that they've provided. We have got some fluff on Land Raiders with this cute little top trumps thing that keeps cropping up, where they have the armor rating, the speed, and the firepower rating. Oh, this is a cool piece of artwork. I've seen this artwork a few times in the past. It's quite a nice sort of cutaway to get a look inside the Land Raider. That's nice. Good stuff. Some nice artwork, and then some information on the Black Crusades. It's been a whole bunch of them. That Abaddon, he's a naughty fella. Star map. Yep, we can see all the little arrows pointing at each other, all condemning like. And then we've got yep, that's the end of the fluff, and then we are into the painting guides, and we've got how to paint edge highlights. That's slightly weird because they have covered edge highlights numerous times in previous issues up to this point, but now we're getting a sort of special focus on the edge highlights in a bit more detail. But obviously we are going to be, we're going to edge highlight all of our green stuff with Ogrin Camo, all of our grey stuff is going to get an edge highlight with Dawnstone, and all of our Macrack blue stuff is going to get an edge highlighting with Calgar Blue, and everything should look super spiffy and nice afterwards. Should have a right. So yeah, we've got Dawnstone, edge highlighting on the black armor and everything. All the other bits and bobs. Edge highlighting the guns on the dreadnoughts. The painting guides in this magazine really, really good, especially because they do take the effort to do really close-up images, which shows sort of how you're holding the brush, where the brush is going, which parts of the miniature, what angle to come in from. Even things like that, sort of giving an indication of the best approach into painting a small recessed detail on a miniature. Because sometimes you look at the miniature and go, well, how am I going to get my brush in there? It's quite nice to have a nice close-up just showing a brush coming in from a certain angle or whatever. Yeah, these are all starting to look very nice indeed. They were already pretty decent, a lot of these miniatures, because obviously they've covered the miniature painting in stages. They sort of get it to a certain stage, then they leave it, and then you get some new paints, and you go back and add a bit more, and then you get some new paints, you go back and add a bit more. And it's getting to the stage now where we're really sort of pretty high-end tabletop quality, I would say there. You know, if you can put that on the table, you should be very, very proud of what you've achieved. You should be very proud of what you've achieved anyway. But there we go. You know, that's something I do like to say about getting into the hobby and painting miniatures, is if you look in a White Dwarf magazine or something like that, everything looks amazing. Everything is obviously painted by professionals and it looks brilliant. And you shouldn't set yourself the bar of going, well, I'm never going to be able to paint to that standard, so I'm not even going to try. Just get some paint on the miniatures. Have fun getting paint on the miniatures. And these guides have done a really good job of doing that. They've kind of gradually introduced new concepts, gradually introduced additional paints. And each time it's like, you know, you're not finished. Go back later on, add a bit more. But for now, you've got a painted miniature on the table and you can be proud of yourself for doing that. I don't like when people become offensive, I guess, maybe that's not quite the right word, about people who are painting miniatures just to get them painted, to get them on the table. I saw something the other day where someone was complaining about there's a particular paint scheme that's going around at the moment for Space Marines, which is quite simple, and someone just posted, it's ugly and boring. And I don't get into online forums and argue that sort of thing. I just obviously let it slide. But I did think to myself, no, grey plastic is ugly and boring. A miniature with paint on it is someone expressing themselves artistically, someone putting some care and love and attention into a product they own and saying, this is mine now, I've made it this way, I've done this. And that's never going to be ugly and boring. That's going to be, you know, it's going to be a beautiful thing that someone has done, even if the painting isn't great. You know, even those pictures you see where everyone laughs at with the gloopy paint, where people didn't thin their paints properly and it doesn't look great, doesn't matter. It's a painted miniature and it's a stepping stone, and it's a part of a process, and it's part of what this hobby is all about. And nobody should ever make anybody feel bad for the way they've painted something. And this rant is going on and I'm going to stop. I'm moving on. Look, I've moved on. There's a medical emergency apparently. This is a new mission. So obviously this isn't going to be a mission that introduces any new miniatures, because we didn't get any new miniatures. Normally the mission would incorporate any new units. So we've got a medical emergency. What is the deal? The Ultramarines medical facility in the north of Kalon is under threat. The Death Guard are coming at them with a with a surgical strike. They're attacking the medical facility with a surgical strike. Just see what they've done. Surgical. Good stuff. Vector of infection. What have we got? We've got the Space Marines here. We've got the Death Guard coming in here. We've got an objective marker here, which represents the access point to the medical facility. I guess the Death Guard win by getting it. Oh, that's torn it. Don't worry, folks. That's supposed to happen. These magazines are designed to separate out like that. Yeah, Death Guard win. If they can get a unit through the access point, Space Marines will win if they hold the Death Guard off for 5 battle rounds. straightforward. Nice last stand type scenario. One of my favourite sort of things to do, you know. Bewildered forces with constant streams of enemies surging towards them. I do like that a lot. Right. Let's have a look at what's coming up next. Chaos Cultists. If you watched my last video, you'd know that. And then next, it is a Hemotrope Reactor. Very nice. It's been a little while since we've had a terrain kit, so that's quite cool. And it's part of the Sector Mechanicus terrain. We've previously had pipe work for that, and other bits and bobs. There's some plasma generator things, and they all link together because they're all part of the same modular terrain set, the Mechanicus sector terrain set. You can combine them all in different ways. It's really cool. Good stuff. But anyway, as I promised earlier on, I'm going to do a running total. So it's the price of subscribing to the magazine, $7.99 a week, versus the price of purchasing all of the goods that come with the magazine at full retail price, not considering discounts, not considering the value of the magazine, and all that other stuff. And hopefully some people will find that useful. But that is it for now. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I will see you all again very soon. Bye bye everyone. Bye bye.